Let us now take a moment and observe silence as a gesture of goodwill to all the warriors and a mark of respect to the souls that we lost through the pandemic. The world has been through a lot over the last year, and collectively, the one thing that has showed up is the resilience of the spirit of people. Resilience has been at constant play in the tech sector as well. We've had an entire industry backing other industries with the warriors of tech who went to work and supported the many that needed to be backed. Cheering them on as we celebrate these torchbearers and thanking them as they keep the torches burning. With that, let us now understand from Pravin Rao, Chairman NASSCOM, on what to expect over the next 3 days of NTLF 2021. Pravin, the stage is all yours.
Wow, it's been an amazing start to the NTLF. It's always impressive to hear from our beloved Prime Minister. Good afternoon. Warm welcome to everyone to this 29th edition of our flagship event, NTLF. This year, the event is a unique one. It's held on a virtual stage and it has the highest attendance in its history. Year 2020 is a unique year. In some sense, it's also a forgetful year for normal life. All of us are probably today allergic to the words pandemic and unprecedented. 2020 is also a world where most of the business travel has happened on virtual platforms like what we are using today. We have heard the phrase, in every crisis, there is an opportunity. And we have heard amazing stories of resilience demonstrated during this pandemic. However, to me, the biggest story in 2020 is the resilience demonstrated by the Indian technology industry. Even in the past, we have demonstrated resilience during the global meltdown in 2001, as well as the global financial crisis in 2008. And we have done this again. In a short span of few weeks, we were able to enable over 4 million of our workforce to work from home globally, providing business continuity for our clients, at the same time ensuring employee safety. And we are also leading the recovery as well. There is no doubt that COVID has had an impact on lives and livelihood. At the same time, there is no denying the fact it has also acted as a catalyst of change. It has brought to the fore importance of technology in our lives. Technology has played a huge role, both in terms of dealing with the pandemic, as well as in terms of the new normal. Technology will play a huge role as enterprises look at embedding resilience in their systems, processes, operations. They look at reimagining their business blueprints. And we'll see massive embrace of technology as more and more enterprises strengthen their presence in the online and social media. This will have an implication on future of work as well. And many of the proof points are already visible. In one of the surveys, 51% of the organizations considered remote working or hybrid working to be the new normal. Today, 78% of small businesses have already adopted cloud computing. The direct-to-consumer market is expected to grow 19.2% in 2021. The same is the story with the startup world as well. We have seen 461 mega rounds, and we have also seen a whopping 140% increase in funding to stealth mode startups. The India's digital story is equally fascinating. You can take any metrics, be it number of internet connections or number of app downloads, and if you look at the volume as well as the growth, it is hard for any country to match what we have achieved in India today. In December, we have seen 105% jump in UPI transactions. In fact, in January 2021, UPI transactions crossed 2.3 billion. It took 3 years to reach 1 billion transaction monthly run rate, and it has taken less than a year to hit the 2 billion mark. We have also seen 300 million increase in online food deliveries. We have seen 110 million online shoppers in the last year, and we have also seen 2x jump in corporate learning. The performance of Indian listed companies in the stock market has also been pretty good. They have outperformed the Sensex significantly. This is what I presented last year in my keynote address. I talked about how technology is changing the world and what we can expect by 2030. Guess what? Some of these trends are already visible today. We are already seeing the beginning of drone-based deliveries. Home offices are the norm today, and probably today most of you are listening to this from your home offices. We have seen massive uptick in digital payments. More than 70% of internet traffic today is diverted to homes. And 3D printing has also come of age. In the early days of pandemic, there was tremendous shortage of medical equipment, and 3D printing was used to bridge the gap. Indian IT has also performed extremely well. We have not only demonstrated resilience, even in the back of degrowth in GDP and even degrowth in worldwide tech spend, Indian IT has actually expected to grow 2.3% this year. This is perhaps the only industry with positive growth despite challenging circumstances. It today contributes 8% relative to national GDP, about 52% of export share. We continue to be a net hire. We added 138,000 net new hires in 2020. Digital continues to grow at a fast pace, 5x the traditional growth. Today it's about 28 to 30% of our revenues. In fact, 1 in 4 employee has digital skills, and it's growing at a 30% plus CAGR. The story of startup is also very good. India is now the third largest tech-focused startup hub in the world. We added about 1,600 startups in 2020 and 20 new unicorns. In fact, in the second half of this year, our growth was 5.3%, and we have a very robust deep pipeline. All this portrays very well for the coming year. So we have seen how pandemic has changed the business model and forced organizations and enterprise to reimagine their ways of working, their business models, operating models, and so on to take care of the changing customer and employee preferences. So a new playbook is emerging in the post-pandemic world, and these are some of the elements of the new playbook. Trust is probably the most critical currency in today's post-COVID world. It's very critical for success. Your customer will choose to work with you only if they trust you in terms of being resilient, in terms of going the extra mile to solve their problems, and in terms of being able to navigate similar kind of situations. Likewise, employees will trust you if you provide a safe and secure environment and will also invest in their development. Given how pervasive technology is and the pace at which technology is changing, organizations have also to start rethinking about skilling and competency development. Likewise, organizations have to be nimble, agile. They have to have the ability to sense, understand, and respond to changing situations, and that is very critical to succeed in the new world. While threat from cybersecurity breaches has existed in the past, it has increased manifold in the current pandemic situation. We have seen about 300% increase in cybersecurity threats since the beginning of the pandemic. In fact, with higher adoption of IoT, the vulnerable threat surface has increased, and with increased cloud adoption, the enterprise parameters have also widened. This has contributed to significant uptick in threats from cybersecurity breaches. And of course, the new world is a hybrid world. Given how far people have moved into the virtual world, it's highly unlikely they will come back fully into the brick and mortar world. So the new world will be a flexible one with ability to work anywhere. This will have an implication on both workforce as well as workspace. It will throw up to new employment models. It will enable part-time working, gig workers. It will also help in inclusivity. You will have more women in the workforce. It will also open up possibilities of expanding work in tier 2, tier 3 cities, all very positive. All this means a lot of changes in your policies, procedures, in regulations and so on, and the industry has to work closely with the government in shaping these changes. So in this context, we are holding this 29th edition of NTLF. The overarching theme is shaping the future towards a better normal. We hope to achieve three objectives. One is we want to celebrate technology because it has been a backbone in helping us deal with the pandemic. We have fantastic stories. It's great to hear and learn from how people have dealt with the pandemic. We are also getting into a hyper digital world. It's important to understand what it means for us. And we need to create a roadmap for the same. And lastly, but most importantly, we also need to ensure that whatever we do in technology, we do in an ethical and safe way and in a very responsible way. We have already seen issues around social media, issues on AI and so on. So there will be a lot of discussions around this as well in this current conflict. So as I said, this is the first virtual NTLF in the history. We have over 80 plus thought leaders who are participating. We have record attendance, over 1,600 people expected to participate. We have separate showcase for startups, and we have many of the best startups on board. Of course, there is a lot of entertainment in between to keep you engaged. You will also have virtual networks where you can also connect with each other and have one-on-one meeting as well. We have about 50 plus mind-blowing sessions. We also have virtual exhibition booths and so on. So we have a great variety of speakers, starting with our beloved Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This is a list of speakers that we'll hear over the next 3 days. I also want to take a moment to thank our sponsors, without whose support this event would not have been possible. So that's it from me today. Look forward to the next 3 days. Enjoy the rest of the event, stay safe, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you.
Thank you, Pravin. Some mind-boggling numbers and stats there, and of course, the fascinating sneak peek into what India has in store. The true digital transformation decade it is, with accelerated changes catapulting us into the future. Also, what a phenomenal lineup of speakers that truly set the tone, tenor, and context for what is to ensue. It sure looks like an exciting 3 days ahead of us. We've had plenty of things lined up and happening right here at NTLF 2021. Remember the hashtags and tweet away.